It's the 3 on PLAXtv.
Yeah, I'm not really sure why they're so terrible. What's good, y'all? It's your boy PLAX, and I am back with another episode of the 3 on PLAXtv. And in this episode, I'm asking the question, why are the Detroit Pistons so bad? Now, at the time of this recording, they just broke the record for most consecutive losses in a season. They are currently 2-29. Hopefully by the time this video comes out, they will have won a game at least by then. We're hoping. But I don't know, man. I think they're not a playoff team or anything like that, but I think they should be better than what they've been playing. And I think their record should be better than what it actually is right now. Like, they have a pretty decent team. Like, the team isn't terrible. Like Cade Cunningham, for instance. Cade is currently averaging, I don't want to lie to you guys, he's currently averaging at the time of this recording 23 points, 7 assists, 4 rebounds, and a steal per game. Now, and during like the last, from loss 24 to loss 29, he's averaging like 35 and 10 or something like that. And he had like multiple 40-point games trying to lead the team to a victory, basically. So Cade himself is a fringe all-star level guy and could potentially be an all-star at some point, maybe because just the team he's on. They have Monty Williams as their coach. Monty Williams is a really good coach. They just gave him a bag. Apparently, he's the highest paid coach in the NBA right now, which my pops was saying he's probably going to get fucking fired. But I don't know. They might give him a chance. But they hired him expecting Detroit to be better than last year, and so far they haven't been. They also have Jalen Duren, who started the season out going crazy. Like their first couple games, I believe they won their first, I think they started 2-1 or something like that. They were playing amazing basketball. The first 5 games, Jalen Duren was a beast. He's currently averaging 12 points, 11 rebounds, and a block, which is great basketball. Like, he's playing well himself. Maybe his points could be up a little higher, but hey, a double-double and a block or two is from a young center like that is good to me. You know what I'm saying? They got 2 veteran shooters, and Bojan Bogdanovic and Joe Harris. Shout out Joe Harris. Free Joe Harris. Joe, come home, baby. Come home to Brooklyn, baby. We miss you. They treat you bad over there in Detroit. Come home and bring Cade with you. No, that's a separate conversation, but they got Joe Harris and Bojan Bogdanovic, 2 veteran shooters, along with the young guys that they have. They have Asor Thompson, one of the Thompson twins, who is an elite level defender already. He's leading the team in rebounds and blocks as a forward/guard, which is crazy within itself. He's not the greatest shooter or scorer or anything like that, but he is very athletic, and those are things that he can work on. He's already elite level hustle player and elite level defender as a rookie. So, I mean, that's a plus. Again, he's not a great scorer, but, you know, everybody's not going to score the points. You know what I'm saying? And that's something he could work on and get better at. And I just feel like they're slightly better than their record. Like, I think right now they are 2-29 at the time of this recording. I think they could be at least 5-26 or something, or 7-23, something like that. I just feel like they're slightly better than what their record shows. Not much better, but slightly. Another thing that me and my pops was talking about was how Detroit, they were 17-60 something last year, right? And they hired Monty Williams with the thought that they would be at least fighting for the play-in. Like, going into the season, their goal was to be fighting to get into the play-in at least, right? And at this very moment, they're not even close to that. Now, my viewpoint now they're probably not even going to be a playing team. But my viewpoint now is at least be better than last year. And I kind of did the math. It may be a little off, but at the time of this recording, they're 31 games into the season. They're 2-29, which means they got roughly about 55, 52 games left, something like that, right? So if they're able to win half of their games, so that would be 25 games, that would make them 27-54 or 27-55. Now, that wouldn't be a playing team. That would probably be good for like 13th or 14th seed, but they wouldn't be last in the East, which they were last year, and it would be 10 games better than they were the previous year. So they still have a chance to be better than they were last year, which should be the goal at this point, but they still have to win 25 more games throughout the rest of the season, and based on how things have been looking, that might not happen, unfortunately. I will say this though, at least over in the let me rephrase. In the beginning of the season, they looked hot. Like they looked like they were overachieving. They were playing very well against some good teams. Jalen Duren was cooking. Cade was cooking. They all were playing very. Asor Thompson was playing great. They all were playing very well. They went on this losing streak. But I will say over the last like 5 to 6 games, they've been playing hard. Like they've been up. They were up against my team, Brooklyn. They were up against Brooklyn, and Brooklyn came back and beat them. They were just up against the Boston Celtics this previous game, like on the 28th. On the 28th of December, they were up like 15 at the half. And then Boston just came back and beat them. And they've been playing really hard over the last 5 games trying to get that win. Like I said, Cade has had multiple 40-point games. He's averaging like 35 and 10 throughout this 5-game stretch. I think he shoot like 73% from the field or something crazy like that. I think he just needs more from the surrounding cast. I'll say that. Like I was saying about Asor, he's a great defender and a great rebounder, but maybe we need some points from him. Maybe Jalen Duren should get more touches. Maybe Joe Harris and Bohan should be more involved in the offense. I'm not really sure, but I'm not sure exactly what the issue is there specifically, but they've been playing hard. They've been trying. It's not from a lack of effort or from a lack of trying. They just can't get it done. Maybe they don't have a closer. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe Cade just isn't a closer guy. Maybe they need a guy that down the stretch, the last 4 or 5 minutes of the fourth quarter or in overtime, they take over and it's their ball. You know what I'm saying? Because maybe Cade is a first 3 quarters guy, and then the fourth quarter maybe he tapers off. I'm not really sure, but that's not even true because I think in one game he scored like 15 points in the fourth quarter, and they still lost. So I don't know. Also, too, I think teams now at this point, now that they broke the record for most consecutive losses, I think teams are playing harder down the stretch because they don't want to be the team that Detroit ends their streak on. You know what I mean? So that's another element of it. They're going into games with teams really not wanting to lose to them because that would be funny on Twitter for a couple weeks. And I don't think players really want to deal with that shit. Yeah, but they're not a terrible team. Like Monty Williams is their coach. He's a solid coach. Cade Cunningham is an all-star level guy. Jalen Duren has a lot of potential. Asor Thompson has a lot of potential. Jaden Ivey, he's really good. Like they have a solid team. They have Wiseman on the bench. They have a really solid team to at least be like a fringe playing team, like battling to get into the playing type of team, and they're just really underachieving, unfortunately. Now, some of the reasons why I think they're underachieving this much is, one, they have too many bigs. They have a lot of very good young bigs, and that's great. Like they have Duren, they have Wiseman, they have Isaiah Stewart, they have Bagley up there. Well, Bagley is more of a bust kind of at this point, but he's decent. And they have some other guy like a power forward. So they have like 5 or 6 bigs out there. That's just too many bigs. It's very reminiscent of a former New York Knicks team where they had like 7 power forwards and 5 shooting guards, and they thought that was going to get them into the playoffs. Like I don't know what, I believe that was a Tibbs team, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe Phil Jackson, but it's either Phil Jackson or Tibbs. One of them had like Taj Gibson and Joakim Noah, and like they had just multiple power forwards and a couple centers and then shooting guards, like not like Frank Ntilikina and Evan Fournier. Like they didn't even have a legit point guard on the team, and they thought that was gonna work, and it didn't really make sense why they were doing that. Detroit right now is kind of similar, albeit the bigs that they have are really good, or not really good, but they're decent young guys. It's still too much. Like running 5 centers and they're all playing is overkill, and it's kind of ridiculous. I would say you keep Duren, you keep Wiseman, and you keep Isaiah Stewart because you need that like grit on the bench. Those other 2 guys can go or be on the practice squad or something like that. And then you can fill those 2 roster spots up with vets or people that can contribute right now, not bigs that aren't even as good as Isaiah Stewart. You know what I'm saying? Like you keep Duren, you keep Wiseman, they could back each other up. You have Isaiah Stewart be like the 4, he comes in and out, and then you just leave it at that. And because really the league, you can play small ball sometimes. That's where the league is headed anyway. So I would say that would be more beneficial to them. Another big thing, though, which I think is the biggest issue, is bum-ass Killian Hayes. Now, I didn't realize how bad Killian Hayes was. I thought he was actually pretty decent. I was thinking that I never actually watched him play, but based off stuff I've heard about him, I thought he was relatively decent. Come to find out, it was brought to my attention from this dude on TikTok. I can't remember his name. If I can find him and remember his name, I'll put him in the video or I'll put his link in the description or something. But it was this dude on TikTok. It was before they had lost like 15 or 16 straight at this point. And he was like, the problem isn't personnel. The problem isn't like the coach or the rest of the team. The problem is one man. And that one man is Killian Hayes. And then he proceeded to break down why Killian Hayes was being detrimental to the Detroit Pistons. And he didn't understand why he was playing so many minutes. At that time, Killian was averaging like 11 points a game, but he was shooting like 9% from 3 and 30% from the field. And like he was playing like 32 minutes a game. At this point, his percentages has gotten a little bit better, but it's still not helping. Like it's not enough, so to speak. So right now, at this point, Killian is averaging, hold on, let me pull this up. I said pull this up like I had a computer. It's just my notepad. Killian Hayes is averaging 9 points per game, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, and he is shooting 42% from the field and 30% from 3, and he's playing over 26 minutes a game, more than Jaden Ivey, who has been playing extremely better than he is. Besides Cade Cunningham, Killian Hayes is playing the most minutes on the Pistons, and he is probably the worst guard on the team. That doesn't make sense. I have a theory that maybe the owner or the GM is like his uncle or something like that, and maybe that's why they keep giving him chance after chance. But apparently, he's historically been underachieving and not playing well. And I think in this situation where they're trying to get wins, maybe you should sit him the fuck down or try to make a move for him, because like he is younger. He isn't playing well, but he is younger. You could probably get something for him at the very least. I really think they need to get Killian Hayes out of that lineup because he's not scoring, which that's what he's there for. He's not a great facilitator. He doesn't play any defense, even though he is leading the team in steals with 1.2 steals or 1.3 steals. But I think that's more of like a James Harden steal where it's like situational. it's not like from playing defense. It's like the ball like just happens to drop into your hands because somebody made a bad pass. It's not what you're doing. It's just a random steal that you happen to get, or being in the right place at the right time. But he doesn't play defense. He's not a facilitator. He's not scoring. He's not shooting well. He can't really play off the ball very well. So why is he out there? He should be in the goddamn G League working on his game. And I'm not saying he's like completely done. Like he's still very young. But he need to learn in the G League or overseas and then come back. Because for some reason, dude just his game don't translate into the NBA at this very moment. Yeah, I don't know. I just think besides those two things, I don't really know what else is the issue. Killian is bringing them down a lot, and those running all those bigs just is never beneficial, especially in today's game. Like I don't even think that would be beneficial in the 90s, honestly, because that's just too many bigs that are getting 10 plus minutes. Like it just defeats the purpose of what you're trying to do, especially in a jump shooting league, because none of those guys can make threes. So now you're closing in the court even more. And Cade isn't the greatest shooter. As I just said, Killian's the starter. He's not a shooter. So now you're just closing in the court when you need to be spreading it out. But I don't know. I hope Detroit can get a win. Hopefully it's not against Brooklyn. I hope it's against somebody else. Comment down below who you think Detroit can beat. At the time of this recording, their next game is against the Raptors, and I think that's like the 31st, December 31st or something. I don't know when this video comes out, but I think they can beat the Raptors, so that might be a first win, or I could be fucking wrong. So if they don't beat the Raptors and this video comes out sometime in the new year, you guys let me know who you think Detroit either they beat or who do you think they can beat to end this streak. Make sure you like, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe, make sure you ding that notification bell so you know every time I drop a video. And most of all, YouTube, I love you guys. Peace out.
It's the 3 on PLAXtv.
Yeah, I'm not really sure why they're so terrible.